Today we are working on the surface area of prisms, which is lesson 8.2. So what makes a prism? We briefly talked about what a prism was last lesson, but we're gonna define it. So it has two bases that are congruent, which means that they're the same size, and parallel, which means that they face each other and that they will never intersect, connected by lateral faces that are rectangular. So lateral faces, we'll look at that in a minute. How do we name prisms? We also talked about this last time, but we name them from the shape of the base. So let's look at this and what this would mean. So right here we have a triangular prism. So here we have the base, and we notice that the bases are the same size or congruent, and they are also parallel, which means that they run alongside each other. We talked about last class, we talked about parallel lines. That means they run in the same direction and they will never intersect or cross. So two congruent shapes that are parallel. And this would be a triangular prism because we have there are triangles that connect it, and it's named prism after. So you add whatever the base name is, so triangle, triangular, and then prism at the end. And then we said that they're also connected by lateral faces. So here we can see that the lateral faces are rectangular. In a prism, all the lateral faces are rectangular. Okay, so let's go through really briefly and let's look at all of these and see how they are named. So here we have a rectangular prism. You can see that they're connected by rectangles right here. It's a great drawing. And right here. Rectangular prism. This is a cube. That means all the faces are the same size. This is a pentagonal prism. It's called a because it's named for the pentagon. And this is a hexagonal prism because it has a hexagon as the base. This would be a pyramid, so it is not a prism. This is a cone. This would not be a prism. It has one base. This is a cylinder. It has two bases, but remember, one of the requirements for a prism is that it has rectangular faces, lateral faces, and this does not. So this is not prism. And then a cone is another type of shape. Or sphere, sorry, is another type of shape. That's not a prism. So we're going to go ahead and erase real quick. Okay, so let's continue. So prisms have polygons as their bases. We talked about that. What does surface area mean? So remember, we found area before, and surface area is just the outside or the skin. So think about a tissue box. And if you were to unfold the tissue box, you could find the surface area of all of the shapes total. So if you unfold a tissue box, it's a rectangular prism, so you're going to see a lot of rectangles. So surface means the outside or the skin of the shape. So if we were to look here, the outside would be all of these shapes on the outside. And then the area is how big the space it covers, so measuring the amount of space. And to find the surface area of any prism, you can unfold the shape to create a net. You can find the area of each face, and you can add those up. So what is a net? Just like we were talking about, it's like if you unfolded a tissue box, it would be all of the shapes that make up that tissue box. Or if you unfolded a pentagonal prism, it would be all of the shapes and finding the area of all of those shapes. So a net is a 2D flat figure. It's all of those shapes kind of flattened out so that you can find the area. So finding the surface area of a rectangular prism. So when we find the surface area of a rectangular prism, we're going to use the net to find the area of each face. So remember, we said that the net was all of those unfolded. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so that you can make sure that you can see this a little bit better. Okay. So we're going to use the net to find the area of each face. So if we look here, when we unfold this box, or like imagining this was like our tissue box, we see a bunch of rectangles. And to find the area of the prism, or the total area of this whole tissue box, we would have to find the area of each rectangle and then add them together. So we can count, this is the amount of faces. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 faces. And of those faces, we know that the area of a rectangle is base times height. Okay. So I can see here, I can find all of those side lengths. So right here, so let me color code this. We're gonna look at my blue. So my blue, I see right here, its length or base is 4, and its height, we don't see the height here directly, but we can look over here, and these are congruent, are the same, so we know that this is going to be 3. So for my side, that looks like a 5, but it's an S, so my side, I know that the area is going to equal 4 times 3. Which we know is 12. So I know that I have 2 sides, so my 2 sides are going to be 12. And then let's look at the back. Back is green. Let's look at the back. So the back, I know my base is going to be 7 inches because I can't see that right here, but these are congruent. So it's going to be 7. And the height is 3. We can see that, 7 and 3. So the back area is going to be 7 times 3. And we write that in inches squared. And we know there are 2 of these. So again, right here, you can see with the front and the back, 7 times 3 is 21. And we would write that as inches squared. Last but not least, we have the top. So the top, the area of the top is going to equal, and again, if you want to access these notes, they're attached to my post in Google Classroom. In the top, we can see it's 7 inches across and 4 inches high. So we would write our top as 7 times 4. We have 2 of those as well. So we're finding the area of all of these. Sometimes 4 is 28. And then we're going to add them all together. So right here, we have all of our side lengths. So our area, our surface area, our S, would equal 28 right here, plus 28 because we have 2, 1, 2, plus 21, which is our base, 2 of these, plus 21, plus 12, and we have 122 square inches, or inches squared. So you could write that as 122 inches squared. Okay, perfect. All right, next, find the surface area of a triangular prism. So we're going to use the net to find the area of each face. So if we unfold this, we get our net, and right, we can see we have 1, 2, 3 3 rectangles, and 2 triangles. So we are going to look here. So we have the 2 triangles are the same or congruent. We can see that they're the same. And these are all different sizes. So we're going to have to figure out how we would find the surface area of all of this. So we're going to have to break these apart. And I'm just going to start because it makes sense for me to start here with the blue. And with the blue, it's at 13. So I know that, again, it's going to be base times height. And I know my base is 13 and my height is 8 because look, these are all congruent. So I'm going to, base times height, it's going to equal 8 times 13. Oh, that is a little ugly, but that's okay. 8 times 13. Okay, so now I'm done with that, and I will multiply. 8 times 13 is 104, so 104 centimeters squared. And then next, we're going to move on. I'm just going to do all my rectangles first. Now I know that this length, or this base, is 12, and the height is 8. So I'm going to say base times height. So we're going to do 8 times 12. 8 times 12. Okay, perfect. And that's going to give me 96. And then my last rectangle, which is going to be 5 times 8. So base times height for my last one equals 5 times 8. and that's going to be 40. Okay, so I have all of my, right here, all of my rectangles are represented. Now I'm going to move on to my triangles. So in my triangle, we know that the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height, or base times height divided by 2. Okay, so right here, my base, 13 doesn't really help us because that's not the height. The height has to be perpendicular to the base or at a 90-degree angle. So this would be our height. It has to go straight up. It can't be this diagonal right here. So I know that this is 12. So my base times height is going to be 12, and my base is 5 times 5 divided by 2. 12 times 5 is 60, divided by 2 is 30, and I have 2 of those right here. So then I'm just gonna, my last step is to add them all together. So I'm gonna add my 96, my 2 30s, which are our triangles, my 104, and then 40, and that's gonna give me 300 square centimeters, or 300 centimeters squared. So this is how we label it. Perfect. All right, well, I believe that that is all. So let me know, go ahead and watch this video. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm also going to post some Khan Academy videos if it makes sense for you a little bit more to watch multiple videos. All right.